The top 3 reasons why the album Dah Shnin by Smif-N-Wessun is one of the best Boot Camp Clik records on this episode of the Best of the 90s Rap Show. Please comment, like, press the subscribe button, and most definitely click the bell icon to be notified of new episodes. And we're starting now. Peace, hip hop heads. Welcome to this episode of the Best of the 90s Rap Show, hosted by Michael Smith and Reggie. Also, they call me Naughty. Collectively, we're the UCD Productions. And the Best of the 90s Rap Show is for hip hop fanatics, 70s and 80s babies, you know what I mean? Heads that are obsessed with the genre and the culture. And, before hip hop became mainstream. We just want to review albums, that's to our peer group to provide a fresh perspective for, people that are in our peer group and for the younger crowd that's looking to learn about these albums as well. And today, me and Mike, we're going to give you the top 3 reasons why we feel like the Boot Camp Clik Dah Shnin by Smif-N-Wessun is one of the best boot camp albums. So before we get started, I just wanted to, give you a little bit of information about Dah Shnin. It was actually released on January 10th, 1995. It was recorded at D&D Studios. I'm not sure if D&D is still around, but that's where it was recorded. It's a quite long album. It's over an hour long. One of my favorite albums, for a lot of reasons. So, around then in 1995, I believe I was probably in about, 11th grade, 10th grade, something like that. I remember when I first heard the album. I was over your house, Mike. And you had, you had the dub of it, and it was around the same time Jay With the Damager came out, because you had both of those albums, and I was just like, right. I didn't know which one was better. I mean, I thought both of them was hot. The Nas album had just come out as well, so it was like a lot of classic stuff going on. What do you remember that time? Like, what was going on with you around that time?
Around that time, I was just listening to hip hop. I was more into the more upstate New York rhymes, because they were coming with all the hot beats, the hot lyrics. You know what I mean? And I was kind of into Buckshot. I liked them, and then I found out about Smif-N-Wessun, and then I heard their album. I was like, man, this album is dope. You know what I mean? They had hot beats. The lyrics was different. They were one of the first Kliks to start wearing the camo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was one of the first Kliks to be with the Timberlands. And I was, I was feeling it. You know what I mean? And to this day, I still listen to that album. Still a classic album. Still can get played any time of the day. Still in probably my top 5. Hip hop albums from the 90s. Definitely in my top 5. You know what I mean? So
definitely. I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. So when you first heard the album, did you first hear it like as, was it the album itself, or like, a single? I mean, I found out about Boot Camp Clik, through, Buckshot, when Black Moon album came out and stuff like that. And then I remember that video, Bucktown was real hot, so even before I heard the album, I was really into that video. Was that the same for you? Basically.
Yeah, it was the same for me. Yeah, I had that Bucktown. I actually had the Bucktown. I had the video. I had the album and stuff, and I heard about them from, listening to like Buckshot, and he was shout them out. I was like, who are these guys? You know what I mean? And then that's how I found out about the whole Klik, through Buckshot, and I had that single, that first single that Buckshot came out with, Black Moon. And I had that single, I just play it all the time, you know what I mean? And then I was like, he hot, so his crew got to be hot, you know what I mean? And then that's how I got introduced to, introduced to them, so. Yeah. So when you first got the album, what was your, first impression of the album? Was it like? I'll be straight up with you. My first impression when I heard it, I was like, man, this album is dope. Then I listened to it again the second time. I was like, this is gonna be a for sure classic. because the beats was there, the lyrics were there. It was totally different. You know what I'm saying? And I knew back then that it was gonna be a classic album.
Yeah.
I could just tell, you know.
Yeah. So do you think that you liked it more or less after you kind of sat back and analyzed it? Because it was like, to me, it's like, you know, I liked it then and I immediately liked it, but it's like even now I went back and I listened to it and I was just like, man, this is even sounds better to me now these days than it even did back then.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like a timeless album, man. Like, you can just put that in, and even though it's like maybe 20 years old, it still sounds fresh, man. It still sounds like something that, you know, upstate New York just came out with. You know what I mean? And to this day, I would say that's probably their best album. You know what I'm saying? And people might disagree with me on that, but I would say that's probably like the top album, you know what I'm saying, from them that I like. Yeah,
me too. And that's why, you know, I thought this would be a perfect, you know, album for us to, you know, go into. Do you consider that this was like an album that was albums with filler or anything like that?
I felt it was a good album through from the beginning to the end. You know what I'm saying? From song one to the song to the last song, I thought it was a great album. I mean, it's not one track on there that I don't like. And I could say it's a lot of albums that are classics. There might be a track that I might fast forward. It's not really my favorite. But that, you can just put that album in, let it ride, and from beginning to end, straight fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's what, you know, sometimes I don't like about a lot of albums, right? You know, it's like you'll have to speed through some songs because you can tell there's this one or two tracks that are blatantly the commercial track that's supposed to be for the radio. And then you just sound like, man, you know, it's just, it messes up the flow of the album, you know?
That's right, exactly.
So, yeah, you know, I was looking through the tracks and I was, you know, thinking about, you know, what was a real, you know, standout track for me, you know, and it was hard for me to, you know, really say. I mean, I love this album because, and I know this might sound a little weird, but I even like the names on this album, like Tim's and Hood Check, Wreck Time, One Time, Wrekonize, you know, Soundboy Bureill, and this even got these little weird, you know, spellings and stuff like that to even make it, you know, it was just, it's you know, but I think Soundboy Bureill probably is like one of my favorites.
That's probably my favorite track on there. It was just something about that with the rhymes and kind of like the kind of reggae vibe of it, you know what I mean? It was just like, it was perfect together, the reggae vibe and the rhymes. It was like, man, this is dope, man. And nobody was really doing that like that back then.
Yeah.
You know, it was totally different, you know? So that immediately I heard that, I was like, yeah, this is definitely it right here.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. So, you know, getting to the title and the reason why, you know, we feel as though, you know, me and Mike feel it's one of the top three reasons, well, three should I say, that we feel like this album was one of the best, if not the best, boot camp album is, you know, it had no filler. You know, it was, you know, just like we just mentioned, you know, there was no commercial tracks, even, you know, like the commercial tracks that were on there, which, you know, Bucktown, I mean, even though it was their hit, I mean, there was nothing commercial about that song, you know. They had like one time they had a video for that. Soundboy Bureill had a video, which you only saw a couple of times. I mean, I think we only seen it about one or two times on Rap City. I don't know why they never really played that video.
I never could understand that either, man. And it was dope, you know what I mean? It was dope, but you
great
know,
video.
I mean, yeah, it was great. But you know, me and you, we was on something different back then, you know. What we thought was hot. You know, maybe other people didn't think it was hot, but the hottest stuff wasn't getting it shine like it should.
Yeah.
You know?
And then number two is, you know, you really can listen to it, and you can either listen to it to, you know, analyze it and just study it and, you know, kind of, you know, really get into it. But it was really great background music too. Like if you were just with your homeboys chilling or whatever, and you just wanted something playing in the background, I mean, it really had that sound. It wasn't like something that's going to make you want to jump up and dance or anything like that, but it was really good. You know, you could play it as a background, you know. So, and then number three, and one of the best things about it, when you have an album that has no commercial tracks in it, and it's a great album, when it's long, which this one was. I mean, it was like an hour and 7 minutes. I mean, most albums are only like, 30 to 40 something minutes. So this album was a whole hour long, and you got a whole hour of just solid, boom bap. These dudes are going at it, rhyming, just representing,
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. Back then, when you heard the album, what did you think about it? What was your first impressions when you heard it the first time?
Well, to be honest with you, and that's a great question, because everything was so dope back then, you just expected everything to be hot. You know how it is now, you just kind of like, you listen to albums and you want to listen to it first before you buy it. It was almost like back then, you had so many hits back then. Like I said, when I first heard it, I thought it was flame. I think the best part I liked about it was that little, that interlude that came on before that one song. I forget what the name of that was. I think it was The Shinin. I think that's the name of that interlude, The Shinin, that came in before the next shit. Yeah. Right. And I was like, man, this is like one of the hottest instrumentals I ever heard. I was like, this is just melted my brain,
Yeah,
so
it was that type. Let me ask you a question. What did you think about that cover, the album cover? I thought that was interesting. Definitely
that was
dope.
When I was reading about this, it says that the album cover draws its inspiration from Roy Ayers' Ubiquity album called He's Coming. So just so they actually kind of borrowed that from them. And I just knew that just from looking at this Wikipedia article, which I was like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah,
I didn't either.
That.
Yeah, and then isn't The Shinin also like based on that movie too?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought they got that from that movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's probably what it was based on that movie.
Yeah, so the album cover is dope. It was everything. I think during that time from like 93, 4 to like 96. Like that was like kind of like the peak of just everything was really good back then,
Right. It really was, yeah. That's the golden era, rap, And to this day, like that album, I love that album so much. Like I bought that album like 3 times. I bought it 3 times. I bought the CD back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I had the tape, and I bought it on iTunes about 3 or 4 years ago. So I still listen to it to this day.
And I do too. It's just a great album. You hear my cat in the background here. So yeah, these are the reasons why we feel that this is a great album. Make sure that you subscribe and click the bell icon to get more of the best of 90s rap. We're gonna have definitely lots of reviews of all types of albums. So be on the lookout for the next 2 episodes. We're going to be actually going over Dr. Dre's The Chronic 1, and the first Wu-Tang album, Enter the 36 Chambers. And also make sure that you check out our playlist. We've got plenty of oldies but goodies videos that if you want to check them out, and some new stuff as well. A little bit I got some soul and R&B and stuff in there as well. So make sure you check that out. All right, any last words, Mike?
Yeah, I'm just, subscribe, check us out. We're going to have fun. We're going to, take it back to the essence of the 90s, and we just going to have fun with this. And we want y'all to join us and, let's do this. Let's take it back to the 90s, like, the golden era of hip hop.
Word. All right. All right, fam. Peace.